Hey YouTube, I just wanted to come to you today to kind of discuss my finished project here, my 1987 Ford Mustang GT. It's an original GT 5-liter car. And so I wanted to just kind of go over my experience with doing the restoration and kind of show you guys the overview of the car. Now, we are just at the tail end of February going into March. I do have extended antique plates on this car, so I've not driven it much. I've only driven it for maintenance reasons, really, to kind of break in the motor and to kind of go over, certain things to figure out all the little kinks, get all the quirks figured out before it gets nice so I can drive this car with no issues. So let's kind of go over from back to front here so I can discuss what has been done to the car. The paint on it is a PPG color. It is, let me see if I can get this right, Candy Apple Pearl Metallic. It was actually, it's funny, I was almost getting ready to do a full 93 Cobra conversion to it. I was going to paint it the teal color because I absolutely love that color on that car, and I couldn't afford a real Cobra. And I'd almost feel bad if I were to take that car, a 93 teal Cobra, and do what I did to this car to it. So I just decided I was going to do that, but then when I saw that color actually sprayed, the candy color that's on this car now, I was in love with it. So it's a PPG paint code. The bottom color is not the frost color that you would see on a Fox Mustang. It is a Dodge or Chrysler color. I don't remember. It's like a PS1 silver or something like that. But it's a really bright silver. It very much identifies with the Frost ground effects package on the Fox bodies if they're two-toned. Fox bodies had two different versions of two-tone. They had the Frost and they had the dark gray. And I really like the light gray, the bright silver, because it really just kind of contrasts with this really deep red. And the ground effects were not clear coated originally, I don't believe, from Ford. This, of course, is all clear coated. The ground effects, the whole thing. So what we have here on the back, this spoiler is gonna go. And when I say that, I mean this spoiler is junk. It is a cheap, probably one of those. I can't think of the name brand now. Probably one of those eBay cheap spoilers, because this thing is just not up to par at all. I don't know if you can see it here, but my third brake light, that sticks out a lot. These things are supposed to be almost recessed, but that thing sticks out, and that is a OEM third brake light. And so I'm like, okay, so that's not a huge problem, but at the same time it kind of is if water runs back behind it. But here's what I'm talking about. Look at that. That is a huge gap. Now, a Cervini spoiler, I've had one of those before. Those things fit great. This actually came with the car. And this thing does not sit flat. I don't know what happened with this spoiler, but it is junk. And of course, all the studs started spinning as soon as I tried tightening it down. So, anyone that's wanting to save a little bit of money and buy a cheap spoiler, be prepared to live with the results. Now, of course, if I'm going through the trouble of repainting my car and doing all this body work, I'm going to have a better part on it. I want it to look straight. I want it to look clean. So this thing will go. Now, on the opposite end of that spectrum is a 93 Cobra rear bumper. This is not an OEM bumper because, well, let's just face it, 93 Cobra rear bumpers are hard to find, for one, and two, this car is not a real 93 Cobra, so why spend the extra money that you're going to have to spend if you find one to put it on this car? Now, the Cervini's rear bumper fits like a glove. It is absolutely awesome. Very pleased with it. It lays flat. It does not have any ripples. It came with its own attaching hardware. It bolts up good to the back of the quarter panel. I am very pleased with it. Now, of course, you are going to have to jockey it a little when you install it because it's a very tight fit. But you want to have that tight fit so that way it doesn't sag off your car. Excuse me. Very pleased with this rear bumper. If anyone was going to buy a 93 Cobra rear bumper, if they're doing any kind of... first of all, I think they look so much better than the GT ones where they're segmented into 3 parts. Plus, I love the curvature. It starts angling up to meet the almost the size of an LX bumper. Now, this does mean that if you wanted to have it look correctly, you'd have to get an LX tailpipes. I just bought a whole new catback because I was tired of my Flowmasters and wanted something different. More on the exhaust in a little bit. Right now, we'll just stick to the body. So I did have to buy a new door molding strip because this one on this side was starting to fold up on the ends. Now, anyone knows that, or anyone that has a Fox body or has owned one in the past knows that as soon as these start curling away from your door, that means the metal strip inside of there is starting to bind and bend outward. And once that happens, there's no way of really saving them. So this is a late model restoration piece. Not that expensive. And it actually looks pretty good. Now you can tell that if you're really nitpicky about it, the inside strip, the inside portion here, you can tell size-wise it's a little smaller. Just a little. That's for the ultra nitpicky people. Door handles are also the metal late model restoration units, because the plastic ones, if you live in any area that has any snow or any kind of really cold temperatures, the plastic gets fragile and it does break. And it sucks trying to go through your car every day through your hatch. Not fun. Believe me, I had to do it when I had my 1994 cylinder Mustang. Both door handles broke and I had to go through the hatch. Yeah, that's fun climbing through there at 20-degree weather. Okay, so these are the original GT ground effects here. And of course, that piece is original as well. They were in good shape, so I did not have to do anything except have my guy sand them and repaint them. Fenders are both Ford fenders, I believe. Oh wait, I'm sorry. The passenger side fender is a Ford fender. This side, oh wait, sorry, I'm getting this wrong here. It's been too long. All right, so this is a Ford fender. This was not the original fender. The other original fender had a bad damaged crease here, and it was right in the bend, so right inside that groove. It was pushed outward. And so a lot of times when that happens on a crease or any kind of body lines, they're not really easy to repair. So luckily I had a Ford fender for it and had it replaced. The other side is a aftermarket fender. We'll go look at that here in a second. Same thing here. The ground effects part here is original. The front bumper is actually aftermarket. So I want to talk a little bit about the aftermarket front bumpers. The Ford bumpers actually, the contours on them match perfectly. And there's always one real way to tell if you have an aftermarket front bumper versus an OEM. Under the fog lights, the fits are generally so tight that the bottom of the bumper will start to bend outwards, so it looks like you have like a little V shape going under your fog light bezel. But there is an easy way to fix that, and that's what my body guy did, because I was annoyed by looking at the front of the car and having 2 little fangs at the bottom of it. It really just drove me nuts. Real simple. Once the bumper is off the car, you can take a body saw and just cut a portion of that section out. And you don't even have to do a lot, just a little section out, maybe like an inch and a half, and it cures that issue. This is I believe it's a late model restoration front bumper. I did not do the front bumper. That was already done in the car with the 93 Cobra insert. By far, probably the best looking grill piece for a Fox body Mustang. There's no like real insignia of the running stallion on the, or the running pony on anywhere on these cars. So that little piece right there just looks really cool. I really like that. My hood is a Cervini's hood as well. I actually bought this hood used because everyone knows that looks up prices for any of these parts knows that these are ridiculously expensive, but you get what you pay for. You're not paying for a flimsy, $200 hood. You're paying for a $500 to $600, double reinforced fiberglass hood that generally fits excellent. As you can see here, they don't fit 100% perfect. It's hard to get a hood that fits perfect beyond stock. But as you can see here, it does fit pretty good, and the body line is pretty straight all the way through. This is a Cobra R hood. One of my favorite looking hoods for a Fox body. Cowl hoods are kind of cool, but I just wanted that extra double bump out. I just think it looks good with the contours of the car. Now, going along the way, there's little pieces, of course, you're going to find that you're going to want to replace. Like a lot of these times, your cowl panels here are broken, so you can go on to late model restoration or and find a brand new unit. They even sell the factory Ford ones if you want to pay the extra money to have a Ford one, or you can get the Ford tooling one where it's got the Ford tooling they use to make it, and it fits just as good. You can buy all these trim pieces if you need it. I just repainted mine with Sem Trim Black. Sem Trim Black is by far the best flat black spray paint that's rattle candy you can buy. That's just my opinion. Long as you sand and prep everything properly and clean everything off, this paint just lasts. It doesn't fade and just looks spectacular. I love it. I've painted numerous pieces flat black with Sem Trim Black. It's it's not that inexpensive. It is a little pricey, but man, they're just really nice. So let's swing around to the passenger side here. We'll go ahead and talk about the other side. This is an aftermarket fender. Uh-oh, aftermarket must be bad. Not necessarily. If your body guy takes his time and actually adjusts everything properly, it'll actually make it fit pretty well to where you can't even notice. The only thing you probably can notice, and it's not really with the fender, excuse me, is with the front bumper. Don't over tighten the nuts on any of your fiberglass or urethane pieces, because this will happen. There is ways to fix this, which I probably will do in the future, but you can see it just by the light hitting it here that it's not flat, or I'm sorry, it is flat until you get right there. And there's a little bit of a divot because someone was, this wasn't me, this was actually like this when I bought the car. Someone tightened these so hard that it started drawing in on the urethane. So that's a little bit of a bummer because it doesn't look that good when you really look at it, but at the same time you really have to look at it to find it. So just a little bit of a pet peeve of mine. But as you can see here, the fender, very straight fender. And of course it matches up the body line. You can see here where it kind of divots down a little bit. That's the real only issue with this fender that I saw, is that maybe it has a little bit more of a bend. Maybe the die that they use to bend the sheet metal for it maybe has a little bit too much pressure on the end. Or it could have just been my unit. Who knows? But body panel wise, it lines up great. Everything bolts up to it just fine. So yeah, no real complaints except that it's not 100% perfect. But what aftermarket part really is 100% perfect? Okay, so again, going up through here, this is all Sem Trim Black. A lot of these parts, like I said, you can get from late model restoration, like your door seals and your door trim pieces. Quarter windows were original. They're actually in really good shape. That was one thing I was surprised about with my car, is that they were not pitted. They did not have that rough like sandpaper texture on them. Looked really nice. So we just scuffed them and painted them matte black. Okay. So my experience with this restoration, what a pain in the butt, but man, the results, I couldn't be more pleased with how everything turned out. A lot of work, a lot of money, and you know, I'm not a rich guy. I am very low middle class, I would say. I do have a job. Mommy and Daddy did not pay for any of this. So, you know, there's a lot of pride that goes into doing a restoration yourself with a bunch of your friends and people you know that help make it happen. You know, spending your hard-earned money on something like this, you know, some people would go crazy and say, why would you do something like that? Well, it's your hobby, and you know, it's your pride. It's what you feel. And it's real easy to give up on something like this too. Maybe for another video I'll rant about Fox bodies in general, but I don't know. It's real easy to just, dump this car on some other kid, let them enjoy like a Fox body until they wreck it, or until the car rusts to the ground, and buy like a 2013 GT, or invest the extra money and buy like an '03 Cobra. It's real easy to do that. And I've owned an '03 Cobra. I've owned Mach 1s. I've owned '98 Cobras, and I've owned other Fox bodies. But this is just my preference. I just like Fox bodies, and I just really enjoyed this process, even though it took way longer and it cost a lot more than I was originally intention to spend on it. So I just kind of wanted to go over like what had to go on with me. Of course, we found rust in spots that I originally did not think I had rust, like on the floor pans, the strut towers, the frame rails. Luckily, my quarter panels were in pretty good shape. There was a giant dent that someone improperly filled a lot of Bondo without fixing the metal on this side. But luckily, I have a good body man, so he fixed it right up. There's just those things that come across down the road that you just don't plan for or you don't expect. And sure enough, when it happens, it's not cool, but it's not fun. And your wallet cries at you a little bit more. But you get over it, and then, you wait the extra time, and it gets done properly, and then you look at the results and go, this car I know is 100% structurally sound now. There's no rust on it, and it looks gorgeous. And so I also want to take this time to let everyone know that I'm very appreciative of the comments and the private messages and the suggestions people have been giving me. I was not going for any attention really on this at all. I just thought it'd be kind of cool to share my experience with stuff, and I've actually got some feedback on stuff doing these videos. Even though I've only posted a few about this car, mostly with the Wire Tuck Tip series. I'm really happy that people have actually found found some kind of assistance with it when they're doing it themselves, or just asking general questions. That's really cool. I've been part of the I would say car club / car community for a long time, and this doing YouTube now is pretty cool, because you can reach out, you can expand past, if you live in a small town, you can really expand and touch other people. And really, get the conversation going about different things. So that's really cool. So I really appreciate the likes, the subscribes, and stuff like that. I am going to try to load more content down the road, just because, it's not. I don't want to say demand. That makes me sound kind of conceited, but it's out there. People are wanting more content. So I think that's kind of cool. So I'll do my part and try to share more content down the road. So thanks everyone for watching. One of these days, when we get some real nice weather consistently, I'll take everyone out for a spin and give you my thoughts on the new engine and transmission setup. So everyone take care. Thanks for watching.